Bases drop. New episode of SDH AM. John, here you there. Thursday thoughts. Here's the rundown. Coming up in a couple of minutes, Steve DeCoux, the men's head coach at Georgia Gwinnett, ranked number 5 in the NAIA. He's going to be joining us before he hops in his time machine or his the Star Trek. Well, I forget what it was. I just called it a transmogrifier. They got a game in Dalton against UNOH, Northwestern Ohio. Part of a doubleheader in Dalton today, 5 and 7:30. It is number 5 Georgia Gwinnett taking on UNOH, the Racers. That's at 5 o'clock, and then number 3 Dalton State takes on Campbellsville at 7:30. So if you're in Northwest Georgia, you're in South Central Tennessee, anywhere close, doubleheader Dalton State, go there. We're catching up with Steve DeCoux coming up here in a couple of minutes, and then we'll get you through all of your morning. We've got stuff to get into from overseas. We've got all your transfer news. We have Atlanta United news to get into, or at least reports. Not quite news yet, but it's reports involving Atlanta United. Short version is there are reports out of Sweden that Stian Gregerson might be heading to Malmo on a 3-year deal. So we'll get into that, but that came across early this morning while we were all either still asleep or just starting to wake up, depending on when your day starts. So Stian Gregerson might be on his way to Malmo. We'll get into that after we catch up with Steve DeCoux. So got to get into Leagues Cup with what happened last night. Final Four is all Liga MX. We'll get into your highlights from last night and lay out the land for where things are. You've got the Champions League draw coming up at noon Eastern time. So you've got that. Obviously, the Power Hour with Nino and Nico in hour number 2, Nino Torres. We've got to talk about what happened last night in Sudamericana. And it was shattering for River Plate. Oh, well, I guess we can talk about it now. So all of the stuff we were talking about that we're going to postpone, how about this? Wasting no time. No time at all. Atlanta United announces the transfer of defender Stian Gregerson to Malmo of Sweden's first division for an undisclosed fee. Joined on January 11, 2024 from Bordeaux, started 51 of 60, 3 goals, 2 assists. Literally, Atlanta United transfers Stian Gregerson to Malmo for an undisclosed fee on August 27, 2026. So now we get to figure out what the GAM can be used for with the sale of Stian Gregerson. So Stian Gregerson, numbers game, obviously, when you bring in Paulo Diaz, when you've got an AME high, when you bring in Junior Alonso, you've got Matt Edwards. It's a numbers game at this point. And Stian Gregerson was not getting in any real minutes. So it was an opportunity for Stian to find a new home, which is closer to home. And so now it is a transfer of an undisclosed fee, Stian Gregerson to Malmo. And since we're already here, why don't I go ahead and do this? Expressen this morning, joining reportedly on a 3-year deal. Malmo this is from Expressen this morning. Malmo strengthens their defense. Gregerson will receive a 3-year deal. Previously played for Elfsborg, has a solid career abroad, Molde, Bordeaux, and Atlanta. 15 appearances for the MLS club this season. Malmo has been looking for a center back following the sale of Colin Rusler to Aarhus. Sports director Philip Berglund can make more reinforcements. Expressen revealed yesterday Malmo had been in contact with Michael Lotto of AZ Alkmaar in Holland, where he's considered one of the alternatives for offensive positions. So Anel Avdic from Expressen, center back, gets a 3-year deal. Expressen can reveal, and this was 137, so 1337. So it was probably what? 1337 minus 5 would be 837. Yeah, so it's probably like 7:30 this morning, our time. So Malmo 3-year deal reported by Expressen in Sweden. Stian Gregerson transferred to Malmo, and the numbers game at the back line meant that he probably should find a new home, and he has. So Malmo 3-year deal, Stian Gregerson, Atlanta United. So the elements at the back continue to get sorted out. But Stian Gregerson now, 3-year deal, Malmo, and morning, David, morning, Abby. And so that is where we are. So Stian Gregerson now has a new home. And the elements at the back continue to kind of settle themselves out. So Paulo Diaz in, Stian Gregerson to Malmo, and now you have another little bit of time to see if you want to continue to add in the window. Chris Henderson obviously is going to continue to try to do so as best he can and consult with Tata Martino and what they're going to be looking for and trying to get everything in line for the stretch run in Major League Soccer. So that was I honestly thought that if it was something that was going to be announced traditionally, they'll do the an inbound is usually something around the 9 o'clock hour, and then they'll tease it for a 10 o'clock reveal. But Stian Gregerson straight out 9-0, 9-0 what, and it was laid all out. So that's where we are. So that is the latest piece of news involving Atlanta United. So Stian Gregerson to Malmo, and we will see what it looks like there. So that is that's your rundown for Atlanta United this morning. But obviously we'll get into another couple of things involving Major League Soccer. Obviously, we got to talk about Leagues Cup, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, and we'll let you know what's going on with all the things involving that. But once again, Final Four is going to be all Liga MX, and so so that is your rundown there anyway. So it'll be so that's the. Hang on just a second. Let's see. So hang on. And we've got stuff to get into here. So I'm just sending a quick email. Let's see. Hang on. I know this is fantastic. TV. So I'm just sending out a quick email. All right. So there we go. All right. There we go. Okay. So like I said, waiting on Steve DeCou to come in from Georgia Gwinnett, and he will talk about when they're leaving to go to Dalton. I'm guessing around lunchtime, and that way they can get ready for this early matchup in the NAIA. So a couple of things. Yeah, injuries, obviously. And that was the thing. Is that injuries was the biggest thing with Stian. And, you're looking for folks to be as consistent in the lineup as possible, and having to cover for Stian with the repeated injuries was also obviously something that you had to kind of keep an eye on going forward with him. So there you go. Morning. Let's see. So morning, Abby. Morning, Will. Morning, David. Morning, Alex. Let's see. I think that catches everybody up. David and Will and Abby and Alex, and I think that's it. Okay. All right. So real quick, couple of things to get you squared away for the morning. UPSL, we got Open Cup. U.S. Soccer set the draw for the first qualifying round weekend of September 12 and 13. A lot of UPSL teams will be attached to that. And there are a couple of matchups that are going to be, I think there are 4 matchups here in the Atlanta area that will have UPSL teams. I think Mount Perrin Christian is going to host one. Park and Lawrenceville is going to host one. And there are others I can't think of off the top of my head because we looked at them all last night. And we're like, okay, here, and here for the 12th and the 13th. So if you are available and around and want to see some lower level investment in the game, Open Cup first qualifying round, 27 matches, September 12 and 13, a record 155 amateur clubs. UPSL has 63 entrants, accounting for 5 of the 27 all-league first-round matchups, 16 spots in the tournament with the first qualifying round of 155 amateur clubs. That's very cool. Vancouver Whitecaps signed 18-year-old Canadian midfielder Emmerich Fotzing from CPL Vancouver FC. It is through 29-30 with an option for 30-31. Finishing the 26th season on loan with Vancouver, joining the Whitecaps roster in 27 after he captains the 2027 U20 World Cup qualification. The talks in Des Moines for the stadium looks like that turned into a budget issue, and the $90 million downtown soccer stadium is going to go away. New state property tax legislation creating a $12 million budget gap in the fiscal year and another $5 million gap the year after. So the city said they can't responsibly commit to it, and the funding gap turned out to be too big. So USL and Iowa not on the books anymore, at least in its current form. So we'll see what happens if the USL Iowa group wants to continue to try and figure out how to make things fit, because they were looking for both USL Championship, I think, and I know they were looking for Gainbridge Super League, and they were also looking on the men's side to figure out what they were going to do there. So keep an eye on that one, but that's a blow certainly for USL and the USL Iowa franchise and the USL Iowa idea. So $12 million shortfall this year, $17 million shortfall in Des Moines next fiscal year. So the $90 million facility wasn't looking good. And then you end up with the back-to-back years of an increased budget shortfall in the city of Des Moines, and that is not going to play. Last night, Ashley Sanchez scored twice, 2-0 win over Angel City, 15 goals on the year, and she breaks Lynn Biendelo's 2019 single-season record for Courage, tied the mark in the 41st, broke it in the 78th. Kaylin Sheridan long ball, 3 Angel City defenders, and North Carolina's now won 5 of their last 6. Angel City had a 4-game draw streak, so they had gotten points in their last 4 matches, just 1 point. But the 4-game draw streak comes to an end. So that happened yesterday. Stuff to keep an eye on today. There's a lot of college going on today. In addition to what's going on with Georgia Gwinnett, we've also got doubleheader at Mercer with Jason and Maddie. So I think that's 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. That is going to be on the plus. So keep an eye out on that. Since we're there, why don't we do this? Let's do what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Link helps us out, helps them out, helps you out for all the streaming services and all the games that you may want to watch in Middle Eastern areas, Middle East, North Africa, and South America. You can get that at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Today, La Liga Barcelona and Athletic Club at 3 o'clock. It's on ESPN Deportes. Europa League, and there's like 78 Europa League games today. We'll get into juice boxes in a bit. You've got some starting at 1 o'clock and one at 2:30. Those are on the plus. Conference League is also today. That's at 2:45. La Liga, 2 matches available on the plus. Celta de Vigo, Osasuna, Barcelona, and Athletic Club. Paramount Plus has a League Cup going on. Wombles are at Fulham at 3 o'clock. I will be in a car, so I might be paying attention to that there. Central American Cup, 2 matches at 10:30 tonight, including Alianza and Mixco and Olimpia and Deportivo Saprissa. So it's for the late-night sickos that want to watch CONCACAF. Now, your college action today, and there's a lot, starts at noon, and we'll let you know the key matchups here in the Southeast and the network that they're attached to. UNC Wilmington Mercer men is at 5 o'clock. That's on ESPN Plus. It is West Florida, South Carolina, Upstate at 6. Lipscomb and Louisville, ACC NX at 6. NC State FIU, ESPN Plus at 7 to go along with Furman and Duke on ACC NX. Network Extra, basically, is what that is. 8 o'clock, you've got Milwaukee, Loyola, Chicago. You have the UC starting to get engaged around 8:30. Marshall and UC Santa Barbara is at 10 o'clock. Cal and Santa Clara is at 10:30. On the women's side, it starts at 12:05. Colorado and Western Michigan on the plus. Then working your way down, it is South Carolina State and the Citadel at 5 o'clock. It is Gardner-Webb and Wofford at 6. Monmouth and Army at 6. Duke and Old Dominion at 6. It is Campbell and Charleston on Flow at 6. Coastal Carolina Greensboro on the plus at 6 o'clock. Jacksonville and the University of South Georgia Gainesville campus, SEC Plus at 6 o'clock. It is Charleston Southern and Campbell at 7. UAB and UCF on the plus at 7. App State East Carolina. Jack State and Samford. NC State and High Point. Liberty and Pitt is on ACC Network Extra. Vandy and Rice. Winthrop and Queens. Iowa State. Oh, wow. Cyhawk is going to be at 7 o'clock on the plus. Auburn and Kennesaw State, so that one affects the footprint directly. Oklahoma State, Mississippi State at 7. James Madison, Virginia, ACC and X at 7 o'clock. It is Milwaukee Marquette at 7, FIU and Florida Gulf Coast at 7, Georgia Southern and Mercer is at 7 on the plus, Maryland and Navy, Marshall and Belmont's at 7:30, Baylor and Texas is on SEC Network. It is Tulsa and Oklahoma's on the plus. Then we start to get into the Central Time Zone, Memphis and Ole Miss, Clemson and Arkansas, Air Force, Texas A&M, Troy and Alabama, Georgia and TCU. So it's Dogs and Frogs, 8 o'clock on the plus. That one is in Texas. It is, let's see, Miami of Ohio, Middle Tennessee State's on the plus. Texas Southern, Texas San Antonio at 8:30. 9 o'clock, UNLV and Idaho State. Kansas and Utah Valley's at 9. Minnesota BYU is on the plus at 9 o'clock. Then the Cal States get active at 10 o'clock. LSU and Arizona State is at 10 o'clock. And UCLA Stanford on ACC Network Extra is at 10:30. So that is that's what you're looking at with the college game. And so, like I said, there's plenty to look at in the college game, and we'll dig into that tomorrow. And it will be a lot of highlights. But once again, Maddie and Jason are going to be at Mercer for the doubleheader. And so they'll be there for men's and women's 5 and 7:30. It's on ESPN Plus tonight. So very, very active day on the colleges, and we will break it all down for you when it comes to all the things. Checking to see something really quickly. Let's see. Whoa. Okay. So Matias Galarza, after what happened last night with Sudamericana, River Plate eliminated from Sudamericana in penalties, losing to Independiente Santa Fe. And so Matias Galarza posts on his Instagram account, remembering the penalty that he scored against Manuel Neuer. So wasting no time, Matias Galarza wakes up and he's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and post this. So that is that is Matias Galarza waking up in the morning and sitting there and saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go this way. But that is what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Brought to us by our friends at Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. With that, you get, like I said, you get all the be-ins, which means you get the 4 European leagues that they have. It is Portugal, it is Poland, it is France, and it is Turkey. You get those 4. And from there, you go Middle East, North Africa with all the be-ins. You get AFCON, WAFCON, all the World Cup qualifiers, regardless of age group. You get that. And you end up with what am I missing? You get AFCON, WAFCON, Middle East, North Africa. Champions. You get Champions League and everything that is attached to the African continent, Middle East, and North Africa, plus the 4 European leagues. And you also get Libertadores and Sudamericana. Talk about that once again with our buddy Nino Torres when he joins us at 10 o'clock. And we'll get into that, specifically River Plate. It appears that Coudet did not do anything after the match. He did not do post-game presser. Because I literally, and this is once again me watching Fanatis, I had it on TSA out of Argentina last night. And you can watch that, which means you get Copa Argentina, TVV out of Venezuela, CDO Plus out of Chile, Liga 1 Max Pro out of Peru, and ties to Tigo Sports, ties to CATV. Anyway, I was watching TSA out of Argentina last night, and literally they were ready to pounce on the post game from Coudet from River Plate. He didn't do it, and so now the talk is that Coudet is gone. And I've got to go back when Nino joins us. I've got to figure out when Coudet joined River Plate. And it looks like he's going to be out the door after losing through, obviously, he missed every kick that was missed in the PKs. And so, obviously, it is a Coudet problem, as it always is. It's always the coach and not the players in the moment, and giving Independiente Santa Fe any credit for winning 8-7 in PKs. So, like I said, we'll get into that more with Nino Torres when he joins us at 10 o'clock. But you get all that in when you tune in to Fanatis. Like I said last night, watching Libertadores and Sudamericana when it was over, you go to TSA out of Argentina. You see the man on the street stuff. You see them waiting for Coudet to do a post-game presser that he didn't do. all of that subtext and all of that drama and all the soap opera, you could get that, especially in Copas. You get that when you got Fanatis at fntz.co/soccer down here. I guess technically, I guess we'll go ahead and call it. The Stian Gregerson story was opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Starting your day with the most important stories in the game. The right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all around Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil, Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So there you go. And yes, we will be going over the gossip, rumor, and innuendo as well, leading into hour number 2. So we got Leagues Cup, we got all our gossip, we got all the rumors, we got all the things. 10 o'clock, Nino Torres will join us, and like I said, we're going to talk a lot about the Copas and especially what happened last night. 10:30, Niko Moreno joins us from Sounder at Heart and Pulso Sports. We've got to talk about what Brian Schmetzer said, and we got to talk about what Craig Weibel and Dejan Joveljic said as they had their introductory press conference. And now it's time for Dejan Joveljic to be the stud that they spent the $6 million on, and he gets to plug into the lineup, and we'll start our weekend preview for MLS with Niko coming up at about 10:30. So since we haven't we might get into Leagues Cup a little bit, but here's what happened last night. Might be just the overarching thing. So Leagues Cup last night, we had the other 2 quarterfinals, and with the run that we have seen so far, it has been all Liga MX. Liga MX won last night. And by the way, Liga MX won 2 nights ago, and they won last night. So let's start with the early game. And it was Austin and Toluca, not at the Estadio Nemesio Diaz. Top-ranked team in the quarterfinals, going up against Team 24 in Harrison, New Jersey, at SI Stadium in the Swamps. So here's your highlights brought to us by our friends at Apple TV and the Leagues Cup. Kanji and Danny on the call in Harrison.
The check is complete. It's on the foot of the Brazilian Helinho to give the Mexican side the edge. Helinho shoots. Oh, Stuver reached out, appeared to get a piece of it, but it's 1-0 Toluca. Just the second goal conceded by Austin FC in this Leagues Cup.
Best team in Mexico, with over half of the game with 10 men as well.
Ball for Diaz Price. The flag does stay down. An opportunity to put it away for Toluca, and yes, they do. Jorge Diaz Price with the exclamation point, and that will do it. Liga MX sides, a subject of frustration for the past 3 years in this Leagues Cup. At least 3 of the 4 places in the semifinals will go to Mexican-based sides. It wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't. But in this one, you end up a 2-0 final. Team 1 advances in a stadium that wasn't theirs. And I'm hoping over time, and this might be a bit of a mini rant this morning, I'm hoping over time, as Leagues Cup continues to grow and evolve, that we have more matches in Mexico as a part of this. It was great that we had some, but I'd always, if you're the top-ranked team and you're in a quarterfinal, I'd like to think that, you would have a home game when it's Team 1 versus Team 24. But you didn't. Toluca wins at 2-0. Austin finished with 9. Junior Rosales on a tackle that, you can only pin it in a Junior Rosales file. You sit there and it's like, if you're in the dictionary and you're looking for a tackle from Junior Rosales, that's the picture. From what happened last night, it's another example. Junior Rosales gets a red in the 40th. And then Ilie gets a red in the 74th. So 2 red cards for Austin. Alino from the spot in the 53rd, and Diaz Price at 90+7 to send it away. But it was Brad Stuver and the defense of what you've seen from Davy Arnaud. They've really picked it up, and especially in Leagues Cup competition. But it didn't quite mesh last night. And my other mini rant in this is I wonder what the surface is going to be like at the stadium in Harrison, New Jersey now. Because it's not just Leagues Cup. It's Red Bulls, it's Leagues Cup, and it's Gotham that have been playing on that surface. So just keep an ear out for what might be happening on that surface. But it's a lot of competition on that surface in New Jersey in a really short period of time. I'm just saying. Toluca had 64% possession, shots 24-11, shots on target 7-2, 13-4 in blocks, 14 corners, 8 to Austin. 12 crosses, 7 to Toluca. XG 3.1 to 1.1. Keeper saves 5 for Stuver, and he almost had 6 on the PK, but he got his hand on it. Clearances 7 each. 28 fouls called, 16 on Toluca, 5 yellows, and 3 on Toluca, and the 2 red cards, both to Austin FC. So 24-11 in shots, 7-2 on target. And Toluca is just suffocating defensively. I mean, they will come after you, and they will not stop. It's almost like the Terminator. They are literally Liga MX's Terminator. Liga MX. So MX''S Terminator. That's who they are. So it's it's crazy with Toluca. Just basically they want to pressure you and press you out of the building. It was difficult for Austin at times to build out of the back. And then Toluca had their opportunities, and they end up winning the quarterfinal, not in their home stadium, but they were the home team at Team 1. They win at 2-0. So that meant that Monterrey, Team 11, Leon, Team 28, Team 1, Toluca, had advanced. Then we go to the final quarterfinal. The final quarterfinal? I guess so. The final quarterfinal, and once again, Club America, Team 3, Columbus Crew, Team 17. No, it was not at the Estadio Azteca. It was in Carson, California. So, once again, if these teams, and if you've spaced it out appropriately enough, if these teams can play their home games in their home stadia, let it happen. Don't get me wrong. Last night, you had a lot of yellow and gold. You had a lot of yellow and gold in that building. And it was crazy nuts intelligent. I mean, it was a crazy crowd. It was a hot crowd. Don't get me wrong. It was packed. But it was in Carson, California. And I get it from an MLS and a Leagues Cup perspective. I get it. I do. Especially when you're trying to get the tournament off the ground. I get it. But as Team 3 playing Team 17, for me personally, it should be a home game if it gets worked out. But you were in Carson, and it was kind of close, so I get it. I like I said, I get it. Here's your highlights of matchup number 2. And this is Keith and Mo on the call. Once again, it is courtesy of Leagues Cup and Apple TV.
Finally gets back in. Long ball the other way. Brian Rodriguez in acres of space. Moreira caught too far forward. Martin, instead he comes for Vega. On that left foot, goal effort! And it's in! Transition led by Brian Rodriguez, but what about that from the finish? Rafael Vega in off the post, and Club America have the opening goal. And this is why Club America are such a dangerous team in the build, in transition, but more importantly in the final third. Columbus had a call. They were hoping for some, and the hope and expectation was after 3 games in the league and getting back into this competition, they'd regain that form and that final product. Rodriguez skips it to
Moreno scores a superb individual goal from Brian Rodriguez. And after all of that pressure, after all of those chances for Columbus Crew, it is America who strike again. 2-0.
And now you can understand why we were saying get the ball to Rodriguez on more occasions if you're Club America. The top-end talent, the individual skill and quality that front three possess for Club America is second to none. We know about some of the meandering runs that Brian Rodriguez can make. The challenge for him has always been, can he finish off plays on a more consistent basis?
And he did that time. 2-0 the final there as well. Goals at 11 and 45 plus 6, pretty much over at the break. And so Club America, Team 3, will play Toluca in one side of the bracket. Man, look, all I'm going to say is this. This one better be at Estadio Nemesio Diaz. That's all I'm saying. That one's got to be there. It has to be. And then Monterrey and León in the other semi. Monterrey, Team 11, León, Team 28. And I would hope it's in Monterrey. But like I said, I would hope it's in Monterrey. I would hope it's at the Estadio Nemesio Diaz for Toluca. I would hope. I said I don't know the grid yet for the semis and Leagues Cup, but all 4 Liga MX sides are in after having issues and not getting into the deeper sections and playing for championships in Leagues Cup. Final 4, all Liga MX sides. Let me check and see if we know where things are going to be. No, I don't want to hear the frickin' Leagues Cup ad in my ear. Okay, so schedule. Let's see if we have a schedule that is posted other than knowing that, yes, the semifinals. Okay, so September 6th is the date for the final and the third place match. The date for the semis is yet to be announced. And they flipped it. So it's Toluca León as the top seed. Okay, so they've reseeded. Toluca León is one semi and America Monterrey is the other. So they've reseeded. So the top 2 teams will not play each other on one side. It'll be the other side. So Toluca León, 1 versus 28. America and Monterrey, 3 versus 11. That is next Sunday, isn't it, Abby? I'll be damn. Okay, so September 6th is your Leagues Cup final. So they got to do something between now and then. Another midweek, I imagine, for the semis. And we'll see if it gets to Nemesio Diaz and Azteca or if they play it in someplace other than that. So we'll see. We'll see what we'll see what it looks like. But, man, that is next Sunday. Everything's running together. Yikes. Okay, so that is that's the rundown of Leagues Cup. So, they reseeded. So, 1 place 28, Toluca León, America Monterrey, semifinals, final being on September 6th, third place match September 6th, and you got to play the semifinal sometime between now and September 6th. Tell you what, just go September 5th. Why not? Just back to back. Just go ahead and back to back it and don't worry about it. So that is that's your rundown of Leagues Cup and getting us ready for the weekend in Major League Soccer. And like I said, Niko Moreno joining us, Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. And that's going to happen coming up in, with Nino, it's going to be in about 20 minutes. And then obviously in a little less than an hour, it's going to be our buddy Niko Moreno joining us from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. And so that'll be the rundown for the rest of the morning. So we got to get into all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and all the other elements that we have this morning to get into before they come and crash the party and they let us know what is going on. So, all right, let's get into the gossip, rumor, and innuendo. So obviously the lead story with the gossip, rumor, and innuendo was that Stian Gregerson is now heading to Malmo on a 3-year deal. Well, Atlanta United has transferred Stian Gregerson to Malmo. Swedish newspapers are reporting it's a 3-year deal. So that was the early part of the breaking news this morning. So that was the early story that kind of started this cascade. Gremio is negotiating, according to Radio Immortal, with Christian Oliveira and an MLS club. Gremio is negotiating the permanent transfer of Christian Oliveira with FC Cincinnati from the United States. Uruguayan on loan to Bahia until December. Not in the Tricolor's plans for the next season. Talks with FC Cincinnati have advanced in recent days. Information coming from Zero Hora and from Radio Immortal. So keep an eye on that going forward for FC Cincinnati as they want to try and get some reinforcements by the end of the window. Now, the other gossip, rumor, and innuendo, obviously we'll check with our Twitter sources, and we'll check with Ben Jacobs, who's been really busy, Tom Bogert, who's been almost as busy, David Ornstein, who's had his moments as well. But it looks like Liverpool has agreed on the $163 million deal for Bradley Barcola. You've got the seeding pots that have been set for the Champions League draw. And let's go there real quick. So your pots have been set. PSG automatically put in pot one. They're joined with Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barca, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Inter Milan, and Atletico de Madrid. That's all pot one. Manchester United, pot two. Villa, Dortmund, Porto. Several teams in pots 3 and 4 clinched their places in the last couple of days. Fenerbahce went beyond qualifying stage for the first time since 08-09, beating Lyon in the playoffs yesterday. Pot 3, AEK Athens, who beat Levski Sofia in Bulgaria at home after a scoreless draw. They beat them 4-0 in the first leg, qualifying for the first time since 18-19. Bodo Glimt, they are in pot 3. Let's see. Okay, so potentially dangerous prospect in pot 3 is Bodo Glimt, and they're going to make their debut in the competition proper after beating Dinamo Zagreb in the playoffs. Their Viking is making their debut after beating Dinamo Zagreb. Viking won 3-1 on Wednesday, 5-3 in aggregate. They're going to be in pot 4. So Bodo Glimt in pot 3, Viking in pot 4. Pot 4 also has Sabah of Azerbaijan, Lutsk, George Bello sighting, and Como. So pot 2, once again, we'll go through the pots as we have them. PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Inter, Man City, Arsenal, Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid. Pot 1. Pot 2, Borussia Dortmund. It's like Mary Hartman. Dortmund, Roma, Sporting, Villa, Porto, Man United, Bruges, and Real Betis and PSV. Pot 2. These are confirmed. Feyenoord, Lille, Bodo Glimt, Napoli, Leipzig, Villarreal, Fenerbahce, Shakhtar, who's going to be playing all of their matches at Stamford Bridge, and Galatasaray. Pot 3. Pot 4, Slavia Prague, Slovan Bratislava, Stuttgart, AEK Athens, Lutsk, Como, Lens, Viking, and Sabah of Azerbaijan. So that's your pots for the Champions League in the Champions League league phase draw. So you've got that to look at once again. That starts at noon. So that draw starts at noon, and set your tables and all of your televisions appropriately. So that is the. Wait a second here. Normally, where's all my transfer stuff? Oh, transfer. Oh, here we go, off the top. There's where it is. Okay. I was trying to figure out where it was, and I buzzed right past it. Manchester City keen on Everton winger Iliman Ndiaye, according to TalkSport, reportedly signaled an interest in the 26-year-old, set to demand an offer worth £80 million if they're to part ways with him. Uncertainty continuing to surround Ndiaye's future after he recently rejected a contract extension. Arsenal could join the race if they miss out on Julian Alvarez. Arsenal also interested in Marseille winger Igo Paixão, according to Team Talk. Made an inquiry, already agreed to personal terms with Sunderland. Liga club keen to keep hold of Paixão after he scored 10 and 6 in 38 matches last year. Latest report indicates interest in him is growing. Villa among teams keeping tabs. Liverpool have placed Alex Scott at the top of their short list, according to Miguel Delaney in The Independent. Identified as an ideal option to reinforce the defensive midfield for the Reds. Standout performer for Andoni Iraola, so Alex Scott makes sense. The valuation for Bournemouth is at £90 million, linked with Chelsea as a potential replacement for Enzo Fernandez. Harvey Elliott attracting interest from Napoli and Lazio, according to Football Insider. Two Serie A clubs among several teams exploring a move for the 23-year-old who wasn't named in the squad for the Reds during the 2-2 Premier League draw against Newcastle Sunday. Elliott, last season on loan to Villa, but due to complications over a permanent clause in his contract that was triggered over a set number of appearances, he made just one league start before returning to Anfield this summer. Manchester City's attacking midfielder Jack Grealish is on the radar of Everton, Villa, and Sunderland. According to Fabrizio Romano, Grealish, I think, is leaning toward Everton. And nothing concrete with Sunderland, despite reports of a recent push to sign him on loan. Then we mentioned Barcola. Fiorentina's in discussions with Manchester United over a deal for Joshua Zirkzee. Yet to make a formal bid, talks ongoing. We talked about this yesterday. Ipswich closing in on the signing of Bayer Leverkusen midfielder Ezekiel Palacios. Ipswich are to pay an upfront fee of €22.5 million and potentially worth another $5 million if performance metrics are met. Chelsea been offered the chance to sign Emi Martinez. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Everton attempting to seal a £20 million deal for Sunderland defender Try Hume. Northern Ireland international is under contract through 2030 at the Stadium of Light. Wrexham have announced the signing of Issa Kabore from Manchester City for an undisclosed fee, spent last season on loan at the club, and has now made the move permanent, signing a 3-year deal at the Stoke Keiras. Also confirmed the arrival of Gabon international Jacques Ikomi from Angers for an undisclosed fee. Forest have announced the signing of Liam Delap from Chelsea. How do we know this? Liam Delap was wearing the jersey, had the pen hovering over paper, and was smiling at a table. Delap's joining Forest in a move worth an initial £45 million, plus another $5 million in add-ons. In U.S. dollars, it's 61 plus 7. Barca confirmed yesterday, we talked about this, the signing of Croat keeper Dominik Livakovic from Fenerbahce. 31-year-old signed a contract until 2030. Liverpool's pursuit of Brighton winger Yakuba Minte has stalled due to the club's, meaning Brighton's, £80 million valuation. That's from the four-letter paper. Chelsea defender Tosin Adarabioyo is keen on a move to Villa. Football Insider. Fabrizio Romano, Al Hilal are set to sign Ollie Watkins from Villa for around £50 million. Florian Plettenberg, Villa have agreed on a £65 million move for Chelsea forward Nico Jackson. Calcio Mercato, Atletico de Madrid interested in Juve and Canada striker Jonathan David, and a potential player exchange deal could be discussed with Atleti's Alexander Sorloth. Porto, from Gazzetta, remain in talks with AC Milan over a deal for Mexico striker Santi Jimenez. Nicolo Schira, Napoli reached an agreement in principle with Mark Guyu on an initial 5-year deal until 2031. That includes an optional 1-year extension. Four-letter paper. Newcastle remain keen on €60 million rated winger from Lille, Matias Fernandez Pardo. Mateo Moreto, Como striker Alvaro Morata, close to joining Leganés on loan. Gazzetta, Crystal Palace have explored a move for Roma and Morocco international midfielder Neil El Ayanoui. Mundo Deportivo, Barcelona defender Hector Fort closing in on a switch to Real Sociedad. Nicola Schira, Bologna have turned down a €38 million offer to sign Jonathan Rowe from Atalanta. Mike McGrath, Southampton have made an approach for West Ham midfielder James Ward-Prowse amid hopes of reuniting with him. Football Insider, Everton are interested in Burnley striker Zion Fleming. A lot of folks are interested in Zion Fleming. So, obviously, keeping an eye out on all of those. Let's see. Let's see. That goes there. And, come on, kick. There it is. All right, so that goes in one place. All right, so here we go. All right, so let's check with our friends on the Twitters, and we will see what is in their suitcases this morning. And we will start with, we'll start. I'll tell you what. We'll start with our buddy Ben Jacobs. Let's go there because we always kind of look at that. All right, so Ben, we mentioned Issa Kabore. It's a £2 million fee for that signing. And let's see, mentioned Iliman Ndiaye. Everton value Ndiaye at around $80 million. Manchester City working on a move. Grealish likely to go the other way if an agreement is found. So keep an eye on this. If Ndiaye goes to Manchester City from Everton, Grealish could probably go and probably would lean from Manchester City to go to Everton. Grealish wants Everton. Saudi Arabia has backed Gianni Infantino following the appointment of new SAFF president Badr al-Raziza, confirmed by the General Assembly on August the 30th. And the statement says that they support Gianni Infantino, quote, at this time, end quote. Backing comes from outgoing president Yasser Al-Misahal and the old board. Incoming president, and this is according to Ben Jacobs, incoming president Badr Al-Raziza did not input directly to the statement and is yet to take a stance. Infantino plans to lobby the Saudis further in September. We mentioned Julian Alvarez. Atletico de Madrid confirmed they will not sell him to Barcelona. Paragraph. Wow. The members of Atletico de Madrid's board of directors have unanimously expressed their absolute support for the club's decision to not negotiate, split infinitive, the transfer of Julian Alvarez to FC Barcelona. The members of the board of directors acknowledge that Atletico de Madrid is open to standard transfer market negotiations when conducted in a professional, ethical, and respectful manner. We fully stand behind the club's previously communicated position that FC Barcelona failed to meet these requirements, and as a result, there will not be any negotiation and there is zero consideration of an Alvarez transfer to Barcelona. Atletico de Madrid trust that our player will understand the decision and will remain focused on helping the club achieve its goals, just as he has done during the 2 seasons he has been defending our colors. So basically, they're pissed. They're absolutely pissed and feel that Barcelona was stepping out of line when they were trying to negotiate initially for Julian Alvarez. And so they're like, well, we ain't negotiating with Barca, and Julian Alvarez is staying. Barca didn't do it the way that we like for it to be done. Wasn't done on the up and up from our perspective. And so, you know what? Not happening. Absolutely not happening. So he is going to be staying. Let's see. Last 24 hours, Fiorentina have grown significantly more confident. Joshua Zirkzee open to leaving Manchester United, wants to join them. The Italian club wants to get the deal done quickly as they feel multiple other clubs will join the race. So keep an eye out on that one when it comes to Joshua Zirkzee. David Ornstein, Fiorentina advancing in talks over the loan move. Milan have accepted a €45 million package from Galatasaray for forward Rafa Leao, who has been offered an annual salary of €10 to €12 million net by the Turkish club. Leao is yet to decide his future. Villa also in discussions for the Portuguese international. Villa are still to make a firm offer, but are pushing in that direction. Okay, so, yeah, Atletico de Madrid, they're pissed at Barca, and so they're like, we're good. We might negotiate, but not with you. Stephen and Fumi's move from Manchester City to Coventry back on again. Talks with Sheffield United and Swansea after Coventry backed away for completing the loan. Wilson Isidore. You remember Wilson Isidore. Is he on this shirt? No. This is Spain and Cabo Verde. This was the initial one. But the Haiti-Morocco banger that was one of the goals of the tournament, at least for me it was, from Wilson Isidore. Wilson Isidore was smiling over a contract, wearing a Sunderland jersey, and his pen was not touching the paper, but nevertheless, there was a smile on Wilson Isidore's face. So he was happy that he was re-signing his contract, or signing his new contract, allegedly, at some point. So, yeah, Wilson Isidore is staying with Sunderland. So good keep for Sunderland there. As we all remember this moment, courtesy of our friends at FIFA.
Se viene con todo. Providence. Centro. Balón dividido. La intentaba ganar Isidor. La recupera Haití. Isidor le pegó. ¡Golazo!
Al 43. Bombazo. Wilson Isidor. 2-1.
Festejen, griten, bailen, agárrense entre ustedes, todo el pueblo haitiano. La gran sorpresa de esta tercera fecha, de la fecha final de la fase de grupos.
I know there's a reason I saved that Wilson Isidore goal from Atlanta Stadium and Haiti. Morocco and Haiti, Wilson Isidore's banger. One of the goals of the tournament. And, so he's signing his deal, or at least his pen is hovering over the new deal. Smile on his face, long-sleeve Sunderland shirt, hovering over the desk. I don't even see a piece of paper on the desk. Anyway, there's a pen that's poised. He's smiling, signs a new Sunderland deal until summer 2030. So good for Wilson Isidore. Wolves confirmed John Ruddy's return to the club on a one-year deal, exclusively reported by TalkSport. He'll be their number 3 keeper. Nico Jackson now agreed to terms with Villa, undergoing his medical today. It was £65 million. The imminent Liverpool signing on Barcola set to be finalized in Monaco, where Nasser El Khalifi and Luis Campos are present ahead of the draw for Champions League. PSG paid €45 million for Barcola, set to sell him for almost €100 million more. PSG's intent was to always get more than the Elliot Anderson and Morgan Rogers deals at 116 and 117. As reported yesterday, Yan Diamande's fee of 120 became the new yardstick after PSG lowered their 145 asking price. Already agreed to terms with Liverpool, waiting for permission to formalize the move. All of those were in pounds except for the €100 million. So big news there. Ipswich were working on a deal to sign Tammy Abraham on loan from Aston Villa. Stuart Watson was first to report that. Mentioned Liam Delap in Nottingham Forest. Quote, I really can't wait to get started. It's a massive club with a big history. Spoke to the manager, and I like his way. I think it can be one to really help me develop, make that next step, and hopefully I can bring goals here, end quote. So there's the Barcola news, Iliman Ndiaye news. Savio scored on his Spurs debut. Villa back in talks with Southampton over Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Saints open to a sale. Villa offered 25 to 30 million pounds. Harwood-Bellis wants the move. We mentioned the re-signing idea of James Ward-Prowse. And so that is from our buddy Ben Jacobs. Now, domestic. Let's see if there were a couple that were domestic. We need to kind of look at from yesterday. Once again, keep an eye on Kevin Kelsey. And that one, I haven't seen anything official from the Portland side of things. But right now, it's looking at $13 million plus add-ons on a sell-on fee. Joined for just under $6 million in the winter, 10 plus 3, and just over 1,300 minutes. And so Kevin Kelsey heading to Rangers from Portland. Orlando City had a deal agreed to sign John Tolkien from Holstein Kiel. The club and the player had agreed, but Tolkien ultimately opted to stay in Germany. Part of the deal was Orlando acquiring Tolkien's discovery rights from St. Louis. The agreement was for Tahir Reed-Brown to go to St. Louis. Even though Tolkien's deal fell through, St. Louis renegotiated for Reed-Brown. Orlando didn't want to block it and let the deal happen. They still need a left back, according to Bogert, and they get a deal done for Vinicius Nogueira. And he is coming from Ludogorets, and this is within the hour, product of the Palmeiras Academy before heading to Europe. So Ludogorets to Orlando City, Vinicius Nogueira, left back. So that's happening as well. And final week of the transfer window here for Major League Soccer. Also, let's see, am I missing any? Tigres nearing a deal to sign U.S. Youth National winger Jaden Contreras on loan from FC Dallas. Deal includes a purchase option. The 18-year-old impressed in the U20s for the United States. Also has featured for Honduras' youth national teams. So keep an eye out on that. Colorado finalizing a deal to sign Israel international forward Syed Abu Farki from Maccabi Tel Aviv. Fee is agreed for $6 million, and he will be a U22 signing. Colorado remaining aggressive and chasing DP winger targets. Final week of the window, in addition to Abu Farki. Revs signed American midfielder Judah Sequeira to a homegrown deal. 17-year-old made his MLS debut this month on a short-term call-up. Now he's got his first team deal. Middlesbrough finalizing a deal to sign American midfielder Rokas Pukstas from Hajduk Split. Marko Silov was the first to report this yesterday from Index HR. Fees around €5 million, a fourth American at Borough. Aiden Morris, Seb Berhalter, Max Arfston, and now Rokas Pukstas. So you have all of those in the queue from Tom Bogert. Now David Ornstein, just to wrap things up. Let me see if we have anything different from Ornstein. And we mentioned the Jack Grealish. We had mentioned Nico Jackson. $47.5 million and £17.5 million in add-ons to make up the $65 million. Personal terms in process of being finalized ahead of the Senegalese national moving to Chelsea. For Ollie Watkins, moving for $50 million and small add-ons. He's going to travel the next couple of days for a medical before joining on a 3-year term. Mentioned Barcola, Hull City, close to an agreement on a deal to sign Robinho Vaz from Roma. Proposed package for the 19-year-old, season-long loan, €2 million fee, plus a €30 million option to buy. Hull City working on ongoing the finalizing between the clubs and with the France Youth International. We had mentioned Rafael. Milan has accepted the €45 million deal, offered 10 to 12 million euro net salary, deciding whether or not to accept the move. Villa's discussing a loan and a buy obligation, but AC Milan want a permanent sale now. That is from David Ornstein, and that is the rundown of, I believe, anything and everything. So we'll see. We'll see what it looks like with all them folks. That's your rundown for all of the gossip, the rumor, the innuendo, and what to watch, where to watch it, and how to watch it. So obviously the story that is tucked in here in Atlanta, Stian Gregerson, and the thank you, Stian, came out at 9:10. Transfer to Malmo, Swedish First Division, undisclosed transfer fee. And once again, that means that more gam in the pocket for Chris Henderson as they try and figure out what they want to do with the remaining week in the window. They continue to chase after folks, and they can try to navigate the AM windows as best they can. So Stian Gregerson looks like it's a 3-year deal, but he's headed back to Malmo, undisclosed fee. And so that is the latest from there. Maddie and Jason, before they head down to Mercer, are going to be at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground for the morning Q&A, and we will find out what is being said possibly about this. I believe Jay Fortune is set to speak, considering he was signed to the contract extension, and that came out over the last, I think it was yesterday. So you have the contract extension for Jay Fortune. I think Jay's speaking today, and now the news on Stian Gregerson. And so we'll see if there's any addressing of it from the front office or from head coach Tata Martino and his availability, and between now and the end of the week, getting ready for Charlotte. So that's the rundown there with all of the Atlanta Unitedness that we have this morning. So keep an eye on all of that. So let's see. Orlando Pride has signed goalkeeper Kara Martin to a new contract through 28 with a mutual option for 29. That is now in the barn. Minnesota United has loaned midfielder Dominic Fitz to Wolfsburger AC, and that is through May of 27. So it is through next season with a permanent transfer option. Joined in August of 25, 9 appearances across all comps. Appeared in 2 matches for Loons 2 and MLS Next Pro, recording a goal and an assist in 180 minutes. Returns to the Austrian Bundesliga, where he played for Austria Vienna from 2015 to 2025 prior to his move to MLS. Austria Vienna appeared in over 200 matches for the Violets, 54 and 63. Competed for the Young Violets, Austria Vienna's reserve side. So Dominic Fitz loaned to Wolfsburg AC through May of 27, permanent transfer option available. All right, it is now north of 10 o'clock, hour number 2. First and foremost, since we are north of hour number 2, it is time for our hydration break. So we'll bring in Nino to help us hydrate, because, you got to hydrate properly. And so we hydrate from our friends at local Vine Beer, Wine, and Liquor stores, 2 locations in the Atlanta area. Thanks for being great partners and friends at either Johns Creek or at Cumberland. You go in, you have a list, you're going to walk out with more. Plain and simple. So everybody hydrate now here in hour number 2.
Yellow. Soccer down here, fans. Nino Torres with you. And this an oversized drink, brother. You got a gallon in there? What's that, brother?
That's pretty close. Yeah. I mean, it's a tall boy. It's a tall boy. It's the caffeine. I'm not a coffee person.
You know?
No, never dug the idea of the brown, flavorless water, hot water, to start my morning.
Flavorless? Really? You said
No.
flavorless?
No. I mean, I can do hot tea, and I do hot tea for the pipes, obviously, but I've never been one to sit there and go, I've never been a coffee person. I tried it when when we're just starting in the business, you get up in the morning, you're having your breakfast, looking at the paper, and I tried coffee, and I said, this tastes like ass. This is not happening. This is not happening. This is not happening.
My mom got me into it. My mom, she's like, man, she's a coffee drinker, but I really started drinking coffee And when I went to the States, before that, I went to the States when I was 28.
Mhm.
Before that, I was well, here and there a coffee, but then I don't know what happened, man. But America got me into coffee, man, every day.
Mm-hmm. I want to start with something. I haven't seen your list, and that's usually what I do anyway. Is I don't look at your list, and we get to sit
Should
there.
be in there, huh?
Oh, it is. I saw it. I haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
but I wanted to talk about something that happened last night. And like I said, if it's on the list, it's on the list, but it needs to be the lead anyway. What in the blue hell is going on at River Plate? It was, and I got into it a little bit in hour number one, where you go to PKs, you're going up against Independiente, you go to PKs, it goes to I think the 11th frame, it ended up keeper v keeper, and you end up with Independiente's second keeper, their backup keeper, getting the clinching goal, 8-7 in PKs, because the keeper for River Plate, and there's a shot, and he skied it, and I know it might be heading to it might be heading to your place, and it might come in the side window.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, it's right there. The ball's right there, man. I can see it from here.
And so it got the top half of the frame. The River Plate keeper skies it, but there's an end zone shot that I don't know if a lot of folks got to see, and literally there's this chunk of turf that was
it was so
dirt
horrible.
next to the spot where you're trying to plant to kick, and he slips in that spot, and then obviously he slips, and then he's leaning backward, and it gets airmailed, and then the backup keeper for Independiente converts 8-7. They win in 11 frames, and then River Plate's out of the tournament, and I'm watching Tay say, and I'm waiting for Coudet to give his post match, and he ain't nowhere to be found. They were camped out. They were waiting for it, and no post game from Coudet whatsoever. They think he's out the door, and Santi Solari might be coming in. What in the hell's going on at River Plate? What in the hell's going on at River Plate? I go on that big rant. You're there.
We're there.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, First off, don't. I mean, whatever happened with the penalties could happen anywhere, at any leg, in any leg, and anywhere, in any tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the Liga 3 here in Peru. Okay, that's not the point here. This is obviously for TV, for the show, for the commentaries, for everything. Oh yeah, he's led and the ball went out, and this goalie versus goalie. That's not that. We cannot be focused on that. We have to be focused on the fact of the matter that River Plate, they just lost their touch, and they just don't know how to get it back. They just cannot bring sexy back. They just can't. They can't, brother. They just can't. They brought back Gallardo. It didn't work out. They brought back several players that right now are 10 years older than they were. And we said this here on the show before, that you cannot bring back players and pretend that they're going to perform on the same level that they were performing when they were 25. But now they're 35. It's a different story, a different ballpark. And now the game is way more physical now. Way more physical now. That you cannot give an advantage, right? If I go against 35-year-olds, I'm going to lose. That's the truth of the matter here. And also, it's this thing that the way that Coudet came to River Plate. The way that Coudet came to River Plate, they just slashed the coach from Spain to get it into River Plate. There's no the process in order to get the coaches, in order to get the players. It's not clean. I'm not saying this clean. I'm not saying that it's anything shady about it. No. The forms, the process. You're forcing things into River Plate. And when you force things, usually it doesn't go that way. It doesn't go well. Okay? So if you all right, right now he's gonna resign. He's gonna resign now. There's gonna be a press conference in a little bit here. And who they're gonna get now? In the middle, we are in what is it, September, brother. Okay, there's but tournaments already in place, and now you gotta find a coach that's available. Not working, and most likely they're gonna go after a coach that they say that this is the coach that fits the real play profile. We don't care if he's on the contract. We're gonna go after him, and we're gonna try to snatch from that team. It's gonna happen all over again because he's gonna bring all this methodology here into real play, and the players have to adapt. But it's not gonna work out again. I said it. Remember that I said that real play was going to be relegated. So this is all the kind of decisions, that lead you into this mess, and they keep doing it. They keep doing it. I was one of the topics. It was on the couple of weeks ago that we talked about it. That this kid, Di Carlo, right? Di Carlo, he's not Theo Epstein, brother. He's trying to be Theo Epstein, but he's not. All right, he's the youngest president in the history of real play. The guy is a great business guy, but when it's just not enough to have all this knowledge, to get all this managerial experience with the numbers and the assets, right? Because at the end of the day, the football is a business, but you got to understand the business of soccer. It's a different story to understand business. And the understanding is this business of soccer, different worlds. That's what's happening now with real play. All these decisions that they're making now, they separate 14 players from the roster, and like, no, we're gonna put aside 14 players, brother. We're in the middle of the tournament. What are you talking about? What are you doing? You should do this at the beginning of the season, pre-season. This is the roster. We got 35 players. These are the players that we're going to use. All you guys, have a nice day. Figure it out. We're going to sell you, loan you, whatever. But you don't do this, where you're in the middle of the road. You don't do that. Otherwise, this is going to happen. This is what's happening. It's going to keep happening. We played. And then we want to talk about when Nino Ramos was right. In December, we'll play going to second division.
Oh man, they have their current
budget.
You spent 52.4 million euro, and you only got 6.45. And this is this year. They've spent 175 million in transfers recently. That was the number that was being floated. But right now, they are a net loss of 46 million euro with their transfers. You bring in Thiago Almada for 20, Angel Correa, and this is all euros, 20 million euro for Thiago Almada, 13.2 for Angel Correa, 6 for Arambari, 5 for Tobias Andrade, the 19-year-old from Vélez Sarsfield, 5 for Francisco Ortega from Olympiacos, 2 for Rafa Santos Borré, who's 30, which is shocking to me I thought he was like 94 years old. Lucas Beltran is in on a loan, less than 500,000. Gonzalez at 300,000. Otamendi on a free from Benfica. Then you've got Matias Galarza on. He was there on a loan, and you had loans ending in December on Sarago, Ledesma, Nassif, Martinez, and Daniel Zabala. That's where you're at. That's where you're at right now.
Out of all those names that you mentioned, Johnny, tell me a player who's performing now.
Thiago Almada.
One out of the
74 that I mentioned.
Right. One. One.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy to see that last night. It was crazy. And then waiting for the post game that never happened. You get the man on the street stuff from Teise. They're out on the street and everybody's all mad and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's great television. But River Plate, looking at River and Boca, knowing what we've known from when they've grown up, when we were growing up watching, to where they are now, it's just crazy that they are this bad.
They are bad, and they're just they're lost. They're not heavyweights anymore. They're currently these are featherweight teams. And I understand that, Argentina media tells you, yeah, Boca Juniors are all little kids. They're crushing it. They're doing sensational games. I'm looking at it like, yeah, but they're not. This type of play is not sustainable. When you play like this, it's nice and fancy. Yeah, okay, I get it. But you need to. I mean, there's no substance in this team. It's you see that the Boca is doing this plays, but when they got hit, they can't get up. They just can't get up. They got crystal jaws. You can go all fancy all around, but when you get hit and you got down, you need to be able to get back, figure it out, and go at it again. That they just don't have that, and that was the I don't want to say the essence, but probably the DNA of this team, especially Boca Juniors, when going to Brazil to play Santos, to play Flamengo, to play taking them down in Brazil. You don't see that anymore. Don't see that anymore. You go to Brazil and you got your rear end kick. Yeah.
Yeah. You can say ass. They got their ass beat.
I can say ass. All right.
Yeah, you can say ass. They got their ass beat. They got their ass beat. Liga Pro Ecuador went on full Britney mode. Oops, I did it again in CONMEBOL. What happened here?
There again, if you check out the last 8 on Copa Libertadores, you have you got 4 Brazilians, you got 2 Ecuadorians, and 2 Argentine teams. So that sends the message again to the entire CONMEBOL Confederation that Ecuador is the 3rd best league in the continent.
Wow. Wow.
It's the 3rd best. All right. They got Liga de Quito and they got Independiente del Valle the final 8. Again, this is ridiculous, Johnny. And when you go in the percentage of points won by teams in CONMEBOL, it's just not about this Elite 8 that they're making it again with Liga Pro Ecuador. They got 51% of the points earned in the last 5 years as a league in all across the board in all 2 tournaments, Sudamericana and Copa Libertadores. Okay.
Wow.
We're the 3rd best team consistently in the last 5 years. I'm going to say more now. It's like 7 years now. I'm going to put 7 years in there. We're constantly and consistently Liga Pro Ecuador teams advance not only to the next for the first knockout stage. No, they're going deep. They're going semifinals. They're going quarterfinals. They're going into the finals. They're going to the final stages of the competition. They only lose against this is unfair league of Brazil, man. I'm so mad at these guys for having so much money, man. I'm so mad.
Well, don't get me started on Botafogo because it's all smoke and mirrors. Quarterfinals, just so folks know, Libertadores. Estudiantes, Corinthians, Independiente del Valle, Flamengo, Liga de Quito, Palmeiras, and Platense. Platense and Fluminense. Say that?
Yeah, Platense. I don't know. Platense still be surprising. I don't know. Fluminense. I don't know, 4 teams in there. I will give Platense a chance. Huh? All right. I will give Platense a chance. I'll give Platense a chance on that one. Probably what's the underdog in the count in that one, Johnny? On Platense. You got it. No, it's gotta be my. I don't know.
We don't have juice boxes out yet.
No boxes. Okay.
Not yet. Yeah. They're the DO. They're such an underdog. They're the DO double G. They are DOGGs where they are. That's where they are. Copa Sudamericana. You wanted to talk about Cienciano. Cienciano. You know what? It's like good luck, Montevideo City. That's all I got.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck, buddy. You're not gonna make it against Cienciano. You're not. Okay, and they are on this mode right now. It's just they feel unbeatable right now.
Yeah.
They feel that they can get it done, and they haven't said it, but I'm gonna say it from them. Is the chances of Cienciano winning the Copa Sudamericana again are high.
Wow.
They have high chances to win this Copa.
Okay.
And it's not. I'm telling you, it's not because the Peruvians. It's just because the way I see something. I see this special stamina, special aura that is coming from them. That makes me believe that they're gonna make it. They're gonna make it. And I got this. Johnny, did I tell you that on my first year in the States, what happened when I bet on sports?
No, you did. No, you did not.
2003. I'm bringing this up because of this Cienciano energy vibes that I'm getting now.
Okay.
I'm getting the same vibes that I got when the Marlins went all the way to way to the finals.
All
right? And I was, first year in the States, I was a rookie. And this guy was working with it. I was like, Marlins are going to win this one. No, you're not. What are you talking about, Peruvian kids? You think they're going to beat the Yankees? What are you talking about, kid? Yeah, I've been watching all the series, right? The way they came back, Poch Rodriguez, all the energy, all these guys, new, young guys, strong. And I'm like, man, this is the energy of a champion, I said, right? So I went over, all right, you want to put it? All right, let's put a case of Heineken, brother. Let's put a case of Heineken. He was my boss, right? Case of Heineken, that the Marlins are going to win this. And of course, I got my Heineken. I drank it by myself. Because I bet the Yankees. I should money on that one. But anyway, that's what I'm saying now. Same kind of energy, same kind of vibe that the Marlins had in 2003 with Poch Rodriguez and company.
Okay. All right. It is Boca Juniors Sao Paulo. September 9 is leg one. Boca Juniors Sao Paulo, Cienciano Montevideo City, Santa Fe, Vasco, and Santos and Atletico MG out of Brazil. That's on September 9th and 16th. Those are the two legs. Universitario and their true 9 menace to the Liga Uno. Hit me.
We've been waiting for this for the past 5 years. And every single year, the front office disappoints us. First, they got this guy, Diego de Regaray, a total mess. He scored 4 goals in 30 games. Then the next year, we got to get this one. We need a tournament because we need Alex Valera to be a companion for someone else. All right. We got to get you Diego Churin. Okay. 35 years old. And he got 3 goals in 35 games. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, office. We're going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you another chance. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this guy, Higasama, right? Who didn't play, he played like 4 games in the last year. So we're going to get this guy because he's going to be in shape. And then the guy calling, I'm the Africa Cup now. I'm cheering for my Senegal team. So I'm not going to be on time for the preseason. We're going to be 3 weeks late to the preseason.
Ugh.
All right, you got all right. As long as you come here and score goals, we're good. He came in, and he only scored a goal in a friendly game.
Oh God!
So, the front office, after this shakedown, we lost the coach, we lost Rabanal, we got Cooper, and they moved the pieces finally in a serious way. So we went ahead and get Gianluca Lapadula, which is, I know he's 36, but he's Peruvian, half Peruvian. He played for the national team and all that.
Mm-hmm.
First 5 games, 5 goals.
Okay.
5 for 5, alongside with Alex Valera. And they are now the most lethal attacker duo in the Liga Uno between Alex Valera and Gianluca Lapadula. And guess where we at now? Number one, baby, only behind. I mean, we're level on points with Deportivo Garcilaso, but it's the goal differential only because we've been scoring, but we've been conceding too. So that's the that's an issue right there. But I say that for the first time in years that we have an actual true nine, an actual killer that is doing his job. I don't want to hear anymore about this number 9. He's so tactical. He's soccer IQ is so high. I don't care, brother. By true 9, he's gonna score goals. I don't care about the other stats. I don't care about if he learns. He's a tactic analyst. I don't care. I want my true 9 to score goals. That's all I want. And I look at Lapadula. It's not the most. What could I say? He hasn't scored beautiful goals. Right? He's just like he's there, and he's a poacher, and he fights and grinds, and they scored 2 goals. The last 2 goals that he scored from the ground with the grit. Give me that one, and because that's the kind of striker that matches Universitario Deportes DNA, and he is made off to be the striker for Universitario Deportes. And for the first time, Alex Valera has somebody that he can trust on top of the offense. And if we won 3 championships in a row without a true 9 scorer, tell me what's going to happen when we got an actual true 9 scorer in the league. So I'm going to say.
Don't give up goals, brother. You're even money plus 100 at Cajamarca, 4:30 Saturday afternoon. And the draws a plus 220. Garcilaso, by the way, they're the game behind you at 8:30 Eastern U.S. time at Alianza Lima. Garcilaso is a plus 900 at Alianza Lima, who's a minus 263. So Alianza Lima, big honking favorite.
They're gonna draw that.
Plus 254. So that number is huge as well. But Universitario Deportes, even money plus 100 at Cajamarca Saturday afternoon. Now, Premier League. You can join our Premier League fantasy league, by the way. Bruno Fernandes, the king of the Premier League. He's all right. Last time I checked.
He's just all right. No, he just broke the record of most assists in a single season, right? He's probably the best player, not for United, not for this last season, but since he was signed with United, he's been consistently the best player for Manchester United in the last 4 or 5 years that he's been with the Reds. But now on this memorable campaign, the last one, because they went from 0 to hero, literally. He went from 15th place to 3rd place in the league. Being in the top 4, it's not something that they were enjoying lately. I'm going to say lately in a while. I don't know when was the last time they finished on the top 3, top 4 in the Premier League. But I'm happy for Fernandes, because I watched this guy evolve when he was with Sporting, carrying his team on his shoulders. Back in the day when Sporting, it was what I call the Frankenstein of the Liga Portugal, because one day they were Dr. Jekyll and then they were Mr. Hyde, and you don't know what to expect from them, but you know what to expect from Bruno Fernandes, and it was quality, it was magic, and I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for Bruno, man. I'm gonna get a chairship with Bruno.
Well, I mean, with that the thing.
What about you? Oh, yeah, that means something.
Yeah, over there. Big favorite at home against Ipswich this weekend, and so what are you baking? What are you making? What are you doing? What's going on?
Oh, brother, man, this is special, man. This is special. I gotta tell you something, man. A buddy of mine, who is in the food and beverage business, he asked me for this, right? I got a meeting with these top guys, all right, top guys in the industry, and I want you to do the best that you can do. All right, got it, brother. I'm gonna bring the cream caramel, which is my favorite. And He said, "Oh, can you do tres leches?" I was like, "Yeah, I can." Then in the end, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna do a crank caramel because this is what he ordered for me last time."
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, they delivered the product, and he was like, "Wait, I thought you were gonna give me tres leches." Just trust me, brother. Just trust me on this one because you're gonna be with these guys. All right. So he went out there to the meeting, to the party or whatever, and one of the party goers there got his wife baking the same thing. So it was at current caramel for Nino versus current caramel for this lady. And who has a business, all right? Has a business. They got a restaurant and everything. Because let me tell you, this the kind of guys that were here. They were food and beverage from the Western hotels here in Peru. It was in that meeting. It was the what was the other guys? The king of the burger chains in Peru. I mean, there were elite guys in there, right? There were elite guys in the industry here. And my buddy's like, "All right, brother, this is gonna be a throwdown there." Yeah. Just and he played the he just put his phone in there and recorded the comments live, and they didn't know that we recorded it. And to hear these guys talking about my product, the way that they talk, talking about the technicality, or this guy, he knows what he's doing, right? He knows what he's doing. You didn't go all the way up on the oven. The process is right, the texture is right, everything checks out. And I was like, man, brother, I was so happy, man.
Excellent.
I was so happy.
Excellent. So what you're telling me is that when the Pan Am games are going on, that Nino the Baker's stuff better be in the West End when everybody comes in for the Pan Am games next year. That's what you're telling me.
We'll see. Go Hershey, man. We'll see, man. I'm giving it all, and to hear these comments from elite people that they know about the business, they know about this. It's just like, not just like your friends are telling me, "Oh, Nino, this is so good." No. Mm-hmm. There's man, I was crying, man. I was crying that night, man. It was crazy, man.
Awesome stuff. We're very proud of you. We love you very much, and we will catch up with you again this time next week, and we'll break it all down one more time, and you'll continue to make us jealous on the Nino the Baker IG, the Gram, and the Insta, where we gain 10 pounds by just staring at all of your food.
Thank you, buddy. We'll see you next time.
You got it. There he goes. Nino the Baker, Nino Torres, and just all of the uber fattening stuff that he posts on his Instagram accounts. Yeah, I mean, literally the slow-mo videos, and literally you sit there and you're just like, man, yeah. So we got to figure out the shipping. We got to figure out the shipping thing. We got to do that. So whenever that happens, we will get that squared away. It'll be shipped in dry ice, so it makes the run. But yeah, we got to sit here and bring it stateside. And so whenever we can figure this out, we'll figure this out, and it'll be up here, and we'll be pigs on the morning show, and then we'll just have to continue to have shipments coming, and that way we'll get it all done. So as always, Nino Torres, busting everything down in South America. But yeah, I had to ask him about River Plate. I really did, because watching that match and then watching the PKs, and there was a point where 5 of 6 and then 5 of 7 were either saved or missed, that went from the 4th and 5th frames through like the 8th frame. You had like a 5 of 7 stretch or a 6 of 8 stretch where they were either saved or missed. And it goes to the 11th. And this is the thing that people don't want to hear, but the river keeper literally steps in a hole as he's trying to plant his right foot. And you see him slip and wobble, and he's still trying to make contact with it. And obviously when you're leaning back and something like that happens, it's going to sky. And it just landed in Nino's place. So you have that happen, and your backup keeper for Independiente gets the Duke. And he gets the game-clinching PK in the 11th frame for that to go down. But, yeah, River's in a world of hurt right now. And Cadet is under contract, I think, for another year. Enjoy that on the beach. Enjoy that on the beach, because this is actually, tell you what, I'm gonna check the social medias and see if there has been any kind of a decision made yet It's you figure you might get tarmacked or something, and it would be one of those. Let's see. So if we go Coudet, if we just do a Coudet search, let's see. Yep, straight to the locker room after the defeat. That's from Teisei. Decided to leave without greeting the fans. And let's see. There's a lot. So ESPN in South America. Today will be Eduardo Cudet's last day as River coach. Juan Patricio Balbi from ESPN Argentina. He's reporting that one day after their elimination in Sudamericana. So Juan Patricio Balbi, ESPN, is reporting that this is going to be Eduardo Cudet's last day as Rivers coach. All I would do is sit there and go, well, duh. I mean, yeah, after what happened, and just because of how River fans are when it comes to moments like this, absolutely, it's going to be Coudet. Like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if Coudet got fired after the match last night, but he was not. Just went right into the locker room, didn't talk to the fans, didn't do post-game press, and so be it. So that was what went down with Coudet last night. River Plate loses, and it was, for the casual watcher and someone who doesn't have, any kind of a fan attachment, it was wild. And by the way, Sunday at 2:00, River Plate and Bonfield. River Plate is at Bonfield. River Plate is actually favored, and Bonfield is a plus 363 dog. And so in this one, and Bonfield is not right now, they are not in the best position either. And there's news out there. Ataque Futbolero is saying Leonardo Ponzio would be the interim for River following Chacho Cudet's departure. Right now with, let's see, the board members are thinking about who are going to be the replacement for Coudet. At this hour on Sunday against Bonfield, it's looking like Leonardo Ponzio. So that's coming more and more than once. So River's leaders are looking. And so everyone is pointing at Leo Ponzio. So that is what you're looking at with that. So let me see what Bonfield is in such a financial strait right now. They could impose a contribution fee for the Mourinho. The same will be allocated to offset the cost of receiving visitors. Remains to define the value and scope of it. And you're trying to figure out. Bonfield will make 7,000 seats available for River fans when the team visits El Taladro this Sunday at the Florencio Sola, located in the Osvaldo Fani stand, and the price of each ticket will be $110,000 local. Argentine. So online sales through Global Fans. So you could have a very interesting time. TAS ruled against Bonfield regarding the debt with Necaxa over the purchase of Milton Jimenez. They have to pay approximately $2.7 million. Purchase option agreed between both teams for the forward was $2 million, and the breakdown of the amounts is posted. So CAS is saying Bonfield has to pay more than $2.5 million to Necaxa. They confirmed FIFA's ruling against Bonfield for breaching the settlement. Ruling includes $2.275 million in principal and another $227,500 in penalty. $4,000 in interest, 18% annual interest on the principal until the actual payment is made. CAS held that the breach of an installment validly triggered the acceleration clause, making the full balance immediately due, and that the 10% penalty did not require proof of damages. So Bonfield and Necaxa go to CAS. Bonfield loses the case, and so you're looking at north of $2.5 million that Bonfield owes Necaxa over the transaction that was attached to Milton Jimenez. So Bonfield is in a financial strait right now, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Herman Garcia Grova, by the way, is reporting Marcelo Escudero will be the coach of River against Bonfield. Possibilities being evaluated that Ponzio join the staff. Ramon Diaz not an option. Escudero, according to Herman Balcarce, Escudero, coach of the reserves, could take charge on an interim basis against Bonfield. Shouldn't rule out Ponzio. So Ponzio, Escudero, and you're trying to figure out what it's going to look like. So we'll see. We'll see how it appears on the weekend. But yes, it is not official that Coudet is gone. Nothing is officially official. We have not had the goodbye, thank you for your service email or social media post. We haven't had that yet. But we are getting closer to the idea of what it could be when it comes to what you're drifting toward and the future for River. Well, let's see. So getting into this. Hang on just a second. All right. So Nico's laptop is giving issues. And so there's that. So Brian trying to reboot his laptop. Of course. So we keep an eye on laptops are lovely. But we'll see what it looks like. All right. So we'll see what that plays like. So what was I looking for here? Atletico de Madrid sent a delegation to London last week to speak to Arsenal about selling Julian Alvarez. The Liga club are adamant they won't sanction a transfer to Barca. We mentioned that. Athletic sources tried to paint the visit to London as exploratory talks for Nicholas Jackson. Sources have told TalkSport Atleti directly informed Arsenal they would consider offers for Alvarez at in excess of £120 million. Arsenal prepared to bid in the final days of the window if Alvarez decides to join. Arsenal believe Atleti would be flexible on structure if Alvarez decides to return to England. And so keep an eye out on that. Kennesaw and Auburn, 7 o'clock tonight. That is on the plus. Grizz are at Dalton at 5 o'clock. And Malmo has made their official statement about Stian Gregerson. So that is officially official where Stian is concerned. The other thing that I was looking at was from the Guardian and Ben Jacobs, and it has to do with what we were looking at in FIFA and the latest there, and it appears that let me see, hang on. So now that things have rebooted, now that I have my new version, because I'm like one of the beta testers for the Guardians app. Okay, so Nick Ames in Monte Carlo. Dateline about 40 minutes ago. UEFA preparing to make a criminal complaint against Gianni Infantino for alleged, quote, criminal mismanagement, end quote, in connection with the failed FFE plan applied for the release of documents related to its conception. UEFA has made separate applications in the U.S. for information, including from FIFA. Request explains UEFA and other interested parties are, quote, preparing to bring criminal claims in Switzerland against Infantino and possible other FIFA officials and advisors for criminal mismanagement under Article 158 of the Swiss Criminal Code. UEFA has used a Section 1782 order in seeking release of the relevant documents. Such a request lets an interested party in a foreign legal proceeding ask for discovery of information from an entity based in the U.S., and FIFA has been reached out to for comment. So we'll keep an eye on that. So keep an eye on that as we go forward. So that came out from Ben Jacobs literally just a little bit ago, and we will let you know what is going on there. So looking at what else is going on, let me get into the early juice boxes. Let me get into early juice boxes for everything going on with Major League Soccer, because I'm anticipating our buddy Niko Moreno's laptop uploading and behaving in short order. Seattle gets the early game on Saturday. They're the 4:30. Chicago Fire comes to town. Seattle's a dog at a plus 177. Fire a plus 125. Draws a plus 275. Atlanta United favored at home against Charlotte at a plus 133. Charlotte a plus 172. Draws a plus 265. Inter Miami, a big favorite at home against CF Montreal, a minus 250. Crew coming back from playing in the midweek favored on the minus side, hosting the Revs at a minus 102. The Revs were plus 243. Keep an eye on that one. DC and LAFC. LAFC favored on the road at a plus 102. DC's a plus 225. Toronto plus 145. Slight favorite hosting NYCFC, who's a plus 158. Red Bulls a plus 190 hosting Philadelphia, who's a favorite on the road at a plus 112 into Harrison, New Jersey. 840 kicks. Nashville a minus 128 hosting FC Cincinnati at a plus 284. Houston, which is where Christian Miles and KCD will be this weekend, a minus 143. Plus 304 on the draw. San Jose on the road at plus 320. The Edward Lewin press conference is set for 4:30 Eastern, I believe. So 3:30 or 4:30. So late afternoon is when that's going to happen, and we'll keep an eye on all of that. So we're going to go to Seattle and see if the computer has actually behaved. We're going to see if his computer has behaved. This will be the question for the morning. Has it behaved?
What is going on, John? The tech was not teching, but we are here. Excited to be on as always. Thank you for having me.
Always.
It's been a wild, interesting,
yes,
frustrating,
yes,
and then glorious week when it comes to reporting and the Sounders and everything that happened with one Dejan Joveljic. But you know what they say, right? It's better to be running around, whether it's good or it's bad, than you just sitting around at your house with, doing nothing else.
Because we covered we had a lot of the presser on yesterday, and we played your question because it was you, and we played your question because it was an interesting question, and we also had other elements of the Weibel, Schmetzer, Joveljic presser, and I played a little bit of the interview that Schmetzer had with Softy and Dick from KJR that afternoon, where Schmetzer's kind of joking, and I don't know if the joke came across right, because, if you're a fan and you're joking and you sit there and Kansas City's like, well, you've lost 8 in a row. We don't want any of your young kids. I don't know if you really want to say that joke, but Schmetzer went ahead and said it on Afternoon Drive in Seattle. And all of this stuff going on, I thought it was important to understand that the $6 million, the release from the team says that it's straight cash homie. And then Schmetzer goes on KJR and says it's a little bit of this, it's a lot of this, it's a little bit of this. Is the truth somewhere in the middle here for this $6 million? What is the $6 million?
Look, this is Brian with Dave Softy Mahler. I mean, like I've always said, when he gets on that show, he just gets a little too comfortable. He kind of loses some of that political correctness, and he can get him into some not so great statements or moments. And so what I would say is this. Yes, I didn't like that comment about the young guys and Sporting City was, but again, he's just being playful, I guess, in his own mind. But the second one, that was interesting because obviously we know that money's supposed to be cash, right? That money's supposed to be all cash. What I kind of gathered is that there is some way to turn, obviously, GAM into cash. There is incoming money from the Sounders that potentially has that availability. That's kind of where I'm going to leave it, because I don't understand it, but there is some truth to that. So what you said is correct. It's more in the middle, how that happens, how that gets equated into the formula, if you will, into the balance of those $6 million. But it doesn't surprise me because, again, people ask themselves, so why do the Sounders mainly look for guys with an MLS? Look, this was a very different type of get, right? I mean, you're getting one of the best strikers in MLS in terms of just being effective on very low chances, and he has been a proven commodity at LA Galaxy, at Sporting Kansas City. He had 18 goals in the worst chance-creating team in MLS. So maybe that's why you're looking at it a little bit different. But the reality is that the Sounders, when it comes to using the resources, that's where they can make the most. Is with the Garber Bucks, is within league rules, and so when I heard of the $6 million cash offer or cash transfer,
Right.
I didn't blink an eye, but I kind of figured that there was something more than just hard cold cash. So it would be interesting to ask Craig Weibel about that at one point. I don't know if we'll be lucky enough to get another front office availability. I sure hope that that's the case, because I did have some remaining questions. And look, you guys saw it's difficult to completely ignore the guy that you're there to introduce.
Yeah.
Or at least for me as a reporter, right? Like I didn't want to make it all about other stuff, right? And I think a lot of my colleagues that were also asking questions about Dejan Jovlich, but there is a lot of questions that we still kind of have. So it would be great if we got one more opportunity to talk to them and ask them. But to conclude and answer your question, I do think that there is some truth to what Brian said, and it would be great to get some detail and clarification on it.
And maybe the clarification could come from the sporting side of things. If David Lee has a press conference on the back end someplace to try and figure out what actually is going down. And we were getting into the juice boxes a little bit before you came in. You were batting leadoff with Chicago coming to town this weekend. What kind of a matchup are you expecting? Is Jovlich just going to be a press and play and hey, go run, and you're going to start, or what are they thinking here?
Yeah, press and play. I mean, Brian said it during the presser. He said, I guarantee that Jovlich is going to start, right? And that's the whole reason why, multiple times he said, we got our guy. He said, you could have gotten guys, and we looked at guys around the world, but we wanted somebody that didn't have the need to have like a learning curve into the league. He knows the league. He scored in the league. He has been practicing this whole week. And he looked sharp yesterday. I was maybe the only person at training at that time. But look, Jovlich got a couple of beautiful curlers through Stefan Fry. I'm talking about very nice moves, cut inside, perfect pace on the ball. I mean, the spin was there. He has been surprisingly, for me, just very good about understanding what other players like. It seems like there is some good relationships in terms of his play. We've only got to see scrimmages, which you could not necessarily take that as what you're going to see on the field, but everything, even the short-sighted games. I mean, he just seems to be motivated, and he seems to be sharp, and he looks like a guy that just stays in the gym, and it goes back to something that Sounders have always done well, which is player intangibles. They might miss sometimes on like a guy like Pedro de la Vega, where maybe he's just health was not on his side, and they were hoping to get something out of him and didn't quite work out. Maybe there is a problem with like a player like Leo Chu or something like that, where maybe he's not completely to the culture of what the Sounders are, but there's always an attempt to get that right. And I think that Dejan Jovlich showed you that, look, he had his whole family in the press conference, which I thought was really sweet. He talked about, he made an effort to share that Albert Rusnak did a lot to get him to come to Seattle. He was thankful that he reconstructed his contract in order to bring him here. He talked about Jesus Ferreira giving him number 9, and now he said they never talked, but he thought it was a nice gesture that he didn't even have to ask for that number 9. Albert Rusnak gave him a ride to the facility. I mean, all of those things, I feel like, talk back to the player who he is. When they asked him what he did, he was like, look, I play chess, I family, and soccer. I mean, that's it. That's all I do. And you could just tell by watching him play that, man, that guy probably stays at the gym, plays a little chess in between, and then he's hanging out with the family, because he definitely looks like a guy that's going to come in and score goals immediately. Now, whether that's going to come to fruition against a very good Chicago team, they might rotate, though, because they were just beat down by Monterrey.
Right.
But we'll see what that is like. But in terms of the player, I do think that there's no question that he's going to come in, he's going to start, and we'll see how that, pans out for the Sounders.
Okay, since you mentioned Monterrey and Chicago, I'll ask my Leagues Cup question here. 4 on the floor, Liga MX. Last handful of seasons, you haven't had Liga MX sides get this deep into the tournament. They weren't chasing after a championship. You now know that it's going to be a Liga MX team that is going to win it. What have you thought about Leagues Cup? What do you think about what happened in the last 2 nights, first off? And then what have you thought about Leagues Cup here in 26?
You can call it cope, if you will. But I do feel like this particular Leagues Cup, a lot of the good teams that were performing at the top of their game in league play did not take Leagues Cup as seriously. There was a lot of rotated teams. There was just a different feel this year to me. And again, you can call it cope, but I've looked at the Nashvilles, looked at the Inter Miamis. You've looked at, all these teams that didn't quite get the new format definitely doesn't work if you're gonna do that, and maybe that's what Leagues Cup wants to prevent, is that teams, they could just play the math game and they can rotate here, rotate there. But you saw with the teams that got through, the teams that are right now are not the best teams in MLS. These are not the top dogs. These are the Austins, for Christ's sake. I mean, that's what you had. You had Austin out there playing and representing MLS. So it's hard to ask a team like Austin to, beat a Toluca. Maybe they played better than we thought they would do.
If you've got in a playoff situation, and I'll say, my hockey brain comes in here. If you've got a hot keeper, if you've got a hot goalie, that can get you far.
Yes.
And Brad Stuver was that hot keeper going through the group stage and getting them to this point. And he did get a hand on one of the shots. I think it was on the PK. I think he got his hand on the PK. So Stuver was in a bit of a rhythm. And so really, if you've got a hot goalie, all you need is one. And that's what, Davey Arno and Austin were getting. It's like, just get me one, and we can rest on the defense with Stuver. We've seen that with him in the past in MLS regular season that get them to playoffs. But I look at that, like I said, I look at the same thing like in the Stanley Cup playoff. If you got a hot goalie, that can get you far. I think that's what helped out Austin here.
Yeah, and that's part of it. And they were a team that, I still think a very fluid concept, and they've been trying to kind of figure things out. But when it comes to the short tournaments, and I've said this multiple times, and you're a team that's struggling, or you're a team that's trying to, find a way to, by the end of the year, you could have a trophy, you go after this sort of tournaments. The short tournaments are great for that. And I think that Austin put all their eggs in that basket. You saw the rotated lineup they put against the Sounders at one point. I mean, they are a team that clearly was looking to Leagues Cup. Same thing goes for RSL. Look, RSL without Gazzo, man, that's a problem. They look like a team that's limping around. And Leon, they put it on him. Cambido was a bad man. And, he showed you why he is really, really good up top. And they had a hard time just mitigating some of the opportunities that Leon had. And Columbus, that's another team that I think still putting itself back together and trying to figure out who they are. And you can't do that against a team like America. So again, I don't want to make it an excuse. It's just what I see. You can take it. You can have your own opinion on it. But I just did not see the best of the best in MLS get through in this tournament. And I think it was by design. I do believe that a lot of these teams are saying, look, I'm doing really well in domestic play. I want to get a MLS Cup, and that's what I'm going to put all my resources and focuses on.
Couple of games that I wanted to get your thoughts on heading into the juice boxes for the weekend. And if there's one outside of this grouping out west, then let me know. Houston and San Jose. San Jose picks up Edward Lewin. That presser is later this afternoon. And you pick him up for basically a song from St. Louis City. And, yeah, I mean, shoot. Well, I mean, from what I understand, Lewin was looking for long-term assurances when it came to his future. He's looking for a long-term deal with his contract ending. St. Louis City wasn't looking for that. They weren't giving him those answers, and he's like, okay, shop me. And San Jose's like, yo, fam, over here. And for, 300, I think it's 350 somewhere. It was less than 500,000 in Garber bucks. You get Edward Lewin, a proven scorer and facilitator, to be added to San Jose. I don't know how many minutes he's going to be getting for the matchup in Houston, but they're a dog at a plus 320 heading to Houston, and St. Louis City, hamstrung Houston last time out. So I'm intrigued with this one.
I think that's an interesting one, but look, San Jose has been such a disappointment in the second half of the season, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, that 5-1 beatdown against Minnesota was a little bit embarrassing. So I really do think that I like Lewin. I think he's a very good player, especially when it comes to set pieces. I think he's going to bring in another guy aside from Nico Shakiris, who, whether it's coming back from injury or having to be the guy now, right? Everybody's got tape on you. You kind of took the league by surprise, and you were this revelation, and we were all talking Nico Shakiris, and then all of a sudden you come back and it's not the same, and people know how to play you, and maybe now there's pressure. So having another guy, I feel like it's really going to help this team out. But I still think that a lot of times it's about not having a way to control the game. I feel like in the midfield, they're a team that's very easy to sometimes pass through. I also don't think that they have a guy that could sustain and change the pace, the rhythm. He's going to dictate tempo. They don't really have that. So, it was interesting. I don't see Lewin like a guy like that. He's a guy that's higher up the field that's going to help you there, not necessarily in that first line of your holding mids. So that's kind of the problem that I have with Chicago, with San Jose. So, man, I still like Houston, man. I really do.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what the numbers are telling you. But Houston is a team that just has more playmakers, and it's kind of funny that we're saying that because we got Timo Werner on the other side, but it's just about where you are right now. I look at Houston, and it seems like whether you might not see it for 90 minutes, but there is like 15 here, 15 there, where the team just clicks and is the right movements, and you're pushing on the side, and that Guillermo is going to put one away, and there's just seems to be a very cohesive team at times. And I think that once they can figure out how to sustain that longer, they're going to be an even bigger problem. So yeah, I'd have a hard time taking San Jose in that one for sure.
And then SoCal Classico, high five, San Diego City and LAG. The Chucky Lozano revenge game. San Diego minus 120. LAG's a plus 261 on the road at the Murph Dragon. What do you think?
Oh, man. That looks like a draw to me. What's the draw?
Plus 303.
Wow. Well, I see it a little bit different. I do think that this is one where both teams are struggling to a certain sense, and San Diego has gotten some interesting results. And I think the Galaxy, I don't know if we'll see what happens with Chucky. Maybe let's talk about Chucky after this game, because right now, and I don't know what you think, John, but it hasn't panned out. And you did give a DP spot, and look, it's in inner league, so we all thought that it was going to work. And Chucky's a big deal. He really is a big deal, right? And you were hoping that was going to maybe drag in a certain amount of the fan base, but I have seen and heard more criticisms about Chucky and that move now than anything else. So it's going to be interesting how it plays out, but I do see this game being a draw. Like, everybody's going to think that it's going to have all kinds of goals and it's going to be the revenge game. I see this game like a 1-1 draw.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're on the underside of all of that one. All right. So since we've seen you already have a very, very busy early part of the week, what else is going on Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart we need to know about?
Oh, yeah. We actually got some news on that end. So, look, obviously we're going to have our Friday show with Jeremiah Oshan. But if you haven't seen what we call the DP pod, right after the DP signing of Joe Village, that was a good one. We were directly from Long Acres, or Providence Swedish Clubhouse and gas station. So go ahead and check that out. It was a really good one. We talked about everything that was said during the press conference, our thoughts, how he's going to fit in, some of the particulars about Albert Rusnak's contract extension. So check that out. On Friday, we're going to have what we learned this week. And maybe next Monday, but if not next Monday, the Monday after that, I will be starting a new show for the Sandra Had Podcast Network. It's going to be an afternoon show on Mondays. We are talking to the co-host right now. We had quite a few, interviews, and we reached out to a couple of people in terms of who we wanted to be the co-host. I think we found our guy. I think people are going to enjoy it. We're going to provide some really fun elements to the show. We might have some giveaways. So, make sure that you guys get tuned in whenever we provide that first day. That the opening day is coming up at some point soon. So we're shooting for maybe the Monday after next.
Okay.
So go ahead and wait for that. But I just wanted to get that out there early so everybody can start to figure out if they can put that into their schedules.
Yep. So Labor Day Monday will be hopefully what we earmarked for the Niko Moreno afternoon extravaganza. Niko Moreno afternoons with Nico. So
man, I got to get John to host this show, man.
Hey, look. If depending on what time of the afternoon it is, if you need me to come in and parachute in to talk about East Coasty stuff, and I'm not doing high school football material, just go ahead and yell at me and see if you want me to come in and crash. I'm
going to hold you to that. I'm going to hold you to that. I'm going to need all the help I can get, my guy. I appreciate it, man. But as always, it is a pleasure talking to you. We'll see what happens. We'll be obviously at the Chicago game. That should be fun. Greg Berhalter, Jovalich's first game. I mean, it should be pretty interesting. I'm wondering what the atmosphere is going to look like, but you're going to see it. You're going to hear it all from me next week. So have a good one, everybody.
All right, we will certainly do that. And he's going to go get he's going to finish his cup of coffee and his breakfast, and he's going to discipline his computer. He's going to sit there and smash that thing all over the place. All right, that is it for today. Remember, Maddie and Jason are at Mercer, 5 and 7:30 on the plus, and that'll get your day started when it comes to all of the soccer that's going on. Doubleheader up in Dalton involving Georgia Gwinnett. We're going to catch up on the women's side of Georgia Gwinnett, ranked top 25, and they had a tough matchup the other night. We'll talk about the season. Tomorrow, it's going to be Georgia Gwinnett women. It's going to be Tuskegee men. We're going to catch up with Coach Tarpley, I want to say like around 9:10. I think Matt Tarpley is going to bat leadoff, and then after that, it's going to be Georgia Gwinnett, and then we'll work our way through. And it looks like Javier Perez, the Atlanta United Director of Methodology, is going to be joining us at 10:30. Lori Lindsay set to join us at 10 o'clock to start the chaos from our friends at Apple TV. So thanks to all of you folks for coming in and crashing as you always do. Let's see. Thanks to Abby. Thanks to Will. Thanks to David. And let's see. So thanks to Alex, Morning Lokeville. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that I have missed. I think I got everybody. So there's Will and David and Abby and Alex, and I think we're good. So mucha plata to all of you. Mucha plata to all of you. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning for a Friday, and we'll take you through the colleges. We'll get you ready for the pros, get you ready through all the things with all the guests that we have and all the cool stories leading into yet another weekend here at SDH AM. See you in less than 22 hours. Since it is the end of the show, that means one thing. It means I get to do this. Back at it again, 9:05 tomorrow morning. Mucha plata, y'all. See you in a bit.